how to get more done with one simple hack. This hack is called Parkinson's Law. And Parkinson's Law simply states that time either shrinks or either expands depending on how much time you give to do a particular project. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but here's an example of it. Say you've got to do a project, you've got to write a book, make a phone call, a particular project. If you give yourself 4 weeks, you will take up to 4 weeks to finish that project. And sometimes you might have to wait until the week before it's due before you actually do something about it, because the less time there is, the more pressure that's on you, the more likely you'll act. If you have the same project and you only have 4 hours to do it, you'll still get the project done, but you'll do it in the time constraint that's been given to you. That's called Parkinson's Law. In other words, time shrinks or expands depending on how much time you put aside to do a particular project. So the best thing to do is anytime you're going to go make dinner, that you're going to go and work on a book project, anytime you're going to go and look for a job, anytime you're going to go change careers, anytime you're going to do anything, if you set yourself a time frame of this is how long I'm going to give myself, and you keep to that time frame, guaranteed you will get it done, because there is something called urgency, immediacy, that now is pushing at you. It's pushing at your brain cells to get it finished at that particular moment. Think about when you were in university or college. You knew what assignments were due, but you stayed up the night before to do it all or to cram for the exam, but you still got the job done. I mean, we always could do better, but you had all this time to prepare, but yet you used the last few hours, minutes to get the work done. And that's Parkinson's Law, in that if you give yourself all this time, you're going to procrastinate, you're going to take up the time because the due date is so far ahead, or the deadline. But if you give yourself a certain amount of time and promise yourself and keep to your word that you'll get it done at that particular time frame, then you're more likely to get it done in that time frame and have time to do other things. So that's Parkinson's Law. Now, I'd like to give you an invitation. I have a podcast called the Unbox Your Gift podcast, how to turn a passion into a profession. The past 4 years, I've coached and mentored people on how to find their passion and turn that into a profession. What I would like to do is I'd like to invite you to be able to be coached by me on the podcast to help you to find your passion minus your resume. Now, here's what's really good about it. Usually when people get coaching or some kind of support, sometimes it takes days, weeks, or years. The Parkinson's Law, time expands or shrinks based on what you're doing, how much time you give it. On the podcast goes for any time between 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And in that time period, I'm going to help you find your passion. Or if you've already found your passion, I'm going to help you try to turn that into a profession. Either or. And by making sure that we are really focused on time, we're going to cut out the BS, we're going to cut out any distractions, cut out all the choices that you're juggling with, and get really clear about what's the next best step for you. And that's live coaching on the podcast. So if you would like to be coached by me in getting you to find out what your passion is, minus the distraction, minus wasting more time, and using Parkinson's Law within that space of time to just get to it and get the clear answer, then my invitation to you is down the bottom. Email me. There's a series of questions you've got to answer, just 5 of them, which just lets me know that you are there for the reasons to be coached and get you to the next point. And so there's only a few places available, but if you would like to be one of the people to be on the podcast, to be coached live, to find your passion, and allow someone else who's listening to the podcast be helped by the journey that you're taking. Because somebody else could see themselves within you. Someone can see themselves and what they're struggling with or what they're wanting to achieve in your journey. And so not only would you benefit by getting to understand what the clear point of your passion is and turn that into profession, the secondary benefit is that you're actually helping someone else see themselves in you and your journey. And if that resonates with you, if that's something that you just want to get down and clear before the clock strikes 2020, if that's something that you really want to be able to do so that in you finding your passion, that actually helps somebody else gain clarity around theirs, then my invitation to you is please join me on the podcast. Please enter your details to be eligible to be a guest and for me to be able to coach you on that podcast to get you to find your passion minus your resume. All the details are below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this Parkinson's Law benefits you. So any goal you set for yourself, put a time frame and stick to that time frame, because guaranteed you're going to get it done and have space for other things that you need to do as well. As always, my advice to myself and to you is that life is a gift, and together, let's unbox it.